Wow, guys! Wow, we made it through the finale, and I cried my eyes out. And let's talk about it. Let's just get into it and talk about it. So the episode starts with Rick and Michonne together. They are having some quality time before they go in to do this mission, and then they take the time to lay out the mission with each other and make sure they're on the same page. And so yeah, that this is kind of how we thought this episode was going to start, but it gets really good. And yeah, I'm still kind of processing. I don't know how I feel about the overall episode, but I love the ending. Okay, so after the credit scene, we find out that Rick has already been debriefed and he is talking to Thorne, and it's clear. I wanted more for Thorne. I really wanted. I wanted to be wrong about her dying. I wanted her to. I don't know that she was even an A, to be honest. I think maybe Okafor got that wrong, and because she totally follows. And when we find out the briefing, the echelon briefing, I think Thorne's just a bad character, just an evil character, you know. But she says that she had to give up, and would an A really do that? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, Rick doesn't, and he's clearly an A. But she says that she had to give up to finally see what it is they're doing or something like that, and she hopes Rick can too. And I think Rick knew at this moment he was going to have to kill her before the plan was completely completed. Whatever. I don't even know that they knew the full plan. He knew the plan yet, like what all he was going to have to do to reach their overall goal. But I think he knew that Thorne couldn't be saved here. Let me know what you think about it. Yeah, that's what that's what I got from this right here. That he realized that Thorne was unsavable. Michonne is able to sneak in. We knew that she was going to sneak in, and she's looking for the file that Jadis left. And my anxiety was super high for Michonne, I have to admit. The leading up to it, I thought she was going to die. Then I was sure she was safe. And then as the episode started, I was scared for her all over again. Just because this is Gimple and this is The Walking Dead, and as soon as they give us something, they very rarely let us be happy. And I wanted happiness for Michonne and Rick. So then we see, the cleaned up Rick. He's still continuing his conversation with Thorne, and Thorne is taking him to meet Major General Bill to start the process of Rick receiving the echelon briefing. So then we get to see Michonne. She's back in Jadis's room. She does find that report. I was beginning to wonder if the report was even real or if it had already been discovered. But Michonne finds it. She tears it up. And we think everything's going to be fine. I mean, I thought, well, she's good now. She's good now. She almost gets discovered. She takes out a soldier, a CRM soldier, and she's good. So then we switch to Rick starting the echelon briefing. So, Major General Bill does give the echelon port to Rick. And it was pretty much what we thought it was going to be, that they destroy these different cities. And he tells that Rick that they destroyed Omaha and the campus colony, and they're going to destroy Portland. But they're also going to destroy all these other communities. And they mean to completely wipe them out to start over. Major General Bill, he does disarm Rick, or he thinks he does, before he starts the briefing, which was a wise choice because Rick does not buy into it. But we'll get into that. He also reveals some pretty I think amazing things. So I do think these pictures behind Rick are in fact what we thought they were. I do think that's the bridge. They never say that for sure, but we see the picture, and we see the one that I think was the Commonwealth. I don't know if you think that or not. I don't know about the one in the middle. It makes me wonder if that was Strand's tower, but I could be wrong about that. But I do think there's probably a reference to Fear. Major General Bill says they have spies in communities across the United States and the world. So that could reference Daryl Dixon's show. But yeah, so they have these spies who they're essentially talking about taking the children and to save the children for the next generation. Okay, so the shots do jump back and forth. The narrative jumps back and forth between what Michonne's doing and Rick receiving the echelon briefing. But we're going to stick with Rick right now, and then I'll talk about Michonne in a minute. But yeah, so it's not going the way Bill thinks it's going to. Rick is hearing all these terrible things that are planned, and he's not gonna. He just doesn't. He can't go along with. That's not who Rick is, and I think he's kind of. He can't believe what he's hearing. That the whole briefing is that they destroy these smaller communities. They steal their resources, and they think they're doing the right thing. That they're going to bring the world back, and he's going to be fully in charge. That Major General's in charge of Bill's in charge of everything, and then he tells Rick that he thinks that he's pretty much chosen him to be his successor, and to be the one who runs this terrible campaign. And did he misjudge Rick. So Major General Bill, he comes to the end of the briefing, and he asks Rick to swear on the sword, and Rick gets up and throws his knife right into Major General Bill's chest, and then the two fight, and Rick ends up killing Major General Bill. Rick kills Major General Bill with his own sword. I did not see this coming like this. I think I wanted Major General Bill to be a little bit more scary of a villain. I feel like him dying like this was kind of rushed, and kind of makes the CRM in my opinion, they're one of the weakest villains that Rick has faced in the whole Walking Dead universe, like in the whole story, in between this one and the main show. I feel like even though they defeated Negan, I think Negan was probably the biggest threat not maybe threat, but like the hardest to defeat of the villains that Rick faced. So while Rick is receiving the briefing, Michonne is in this presentation about the attack on Portland, and they talk about how they're going to take the children. We know already that there are spies in all the communities from where we see Rick receiving the briefing, and they're showing these different children. And Michonne you can tell she's getting triggered because she's already found a child's toy in the main hall before she went into this. And we find out that they're taking these children and bringing them here, and pretty much they're going to be groomed to fall in line into this plan that they have, to this 500-year plan, and that these children, they said the children could be the one, any one of these children could be one of the ones to bring back humanity or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly how they say it, and then we see this child right here, and I wasn't sure if this was, at first I wasn't sure if this was supposed to be like RJ, and he had been recast, as an older child, but this is just a child that triggered Michonne, because she was already thinking of the kids and what they were as she was hearing this plan about these children being taken away, and she's heard enough, and she's ready to go fight back. They have to end the CRM. She realizes. I guess I shouldn't say realizes. She already knew it, but she is so determined right now, because that's just who Michonne is. So after he's done with Bill, after Bill is dead, Rick radios Thorne and tells her that he received the briefing, and he'll talk to her in a bit, that Major General Bill is going to take some time to himself, and that he goes about trying to hide the body so maybe they won't be found out. And he has a tense moment. Elevator, fights another CRM soldier, and reunites with Michonne. Thorne senses something's wrong here. She goes to see Major General Bill, and he's not there. So she starts a little bit of an investigation to find out what Rick is up to. And we get a back and forth of her looking for Rick, and she's putting things together. And Rick and Michonne are formulating their plan with some explosives and what will eventually be the walker of Major General Bill and the CRM soldier that Rick killed. Yes, Rick actually won a fight. I love Rick, but man, he had a history of losing fights. I guess this CRM training actually paid off. Thorne finds her. She goes to Rick's room, and she finds his prosthetic there, and she kind of has this moment of reflection and thinking about Michonne, Dana, and she pieces it together, and she realizes that she has been duped, and she goes to look for them. She just had to have just barely missed them in their room as they were setting up their explosives to finish the CRM off. And again, right here, I begin to be nervous, not for Rick, but for Michonne. Because, I feel like Rick has, he's safe no matter what. And I was really worried about Michonne all over again right here. Rick and Michonne go out to these tents full of the chlorine gas, and they tie off explosives, these grenades to them. And this must be what they were getting ready to use on the attack on Portland, this gas. And Rick gives Michonne Bill's sword, and we see that the plan is they have these wires attached to the grenades and attached to the walker bodies of Bill and the CRM soldier that Rick killed. And the plan is to just leave. And Rick and Michonne are going to try to get to a safe distance and let these walkers just walk out of the tent and trip the explosion, taking out the whole frontliner core and the upper brass. However, before Rick and Michonne can get away, Thorne finds them, and she's very upset. Very upset. She wants to know what Rick's done. She tells them to take off their helmets and turn around and go back into the tent to fix what they've done. And but before they can get there, the zombified walker of Major General Bill comes out. The cord is pulled. Rick and Michonne cuts, it looks like a container of water, and they jump under a tarp, and the explosion happens, and somehow they survive, plot armor. And somehow Thorne survives the explosion, which, television, otherwise it just doesn't make sense, but television. Rick and Michonne come out from their hiding place under the tarp when they realize that Thorne has survived the explosion, and she has a mask on, so she is not going to be bothered by the gas, and she's looking for them. Rick gets into a fight with Thorne before he's overrun with walkers and has to deal with that. Michonne fights Thorne, and I was so happy to see this fight, but I was worried about Michonne. But Michonne is a total butt kicker, so she's able to defeat Thorne. She stabs Thorne, and then she goes to Rick. Later, we find out that Thorne has her moment where she gives Rick her mask before she dies, and Rick and Michonne get away. Then we see the helicopter the Chinook. I got it right this time, and it is Rick and Michonne going, I assume, to the Commonwealth, while we get a voiceover about how the Civic Republic has taken over control of the military. Now that everything's been revealed, the basic troops who didn't know anything that was going on, what the frontliners and what the major plan was, are they're going to be under the control of the Republic. People are free; they can come and go. And Rick and Michonne brought it all down. They burned it down to start something, to bring something new, and they finished their mission, and they're on their way home. And then we get Michonne reaching out to Judith on the radio, and we see that Judith hears her, and Rick and Michonne get home. And guys, I was crying already. Like as soon as I heard Michonne's voice on the radio, I realized that we were going to get this reunion, because I was so afraid that we weren't going to get it. And we do. And it's a beautiful scene. I'm going to break it down later and talk about what I think it means, for the future of the show, or, of The Walking Dead. But yeah, Rick gets to see his family. He gets to see Judith again. And Judith says she never gave up believing. And then he gets to see RJ. And RJ asks him if he's the brave man, and they confirm it, and they all come together, and they're able to have this big embrace. And I'm glad that Gimple didn't break our hearts on Easter Sunday. And it was a really good finale. And well, this video is getting kind of long, so I'll talk about it more in another video coming, next week. But yeah, overall, I thought this was, while I think the story was rushed, I loved the ending. I loved the ending. And while I thought the part with the CRM bringing them down was rushed, we have to remember that's not the point of this story. The point of this story was Rick and Michonne finding each other, Michonne bringing Rick back, and ultimately them doing what they had to do, which was, you know, this wasn't the action show. This was the love show. This was them this was their story of how you get this family back together. And I thought it was beautifully told. And I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Were you satisfied with how this all ended? I know so many people are happy that both Rick and Michonne got to see their children again, and that we did not get like a major death. Really, the only people we lost were the people that carried the story along, that were kind of like the vehicles to Rick and Michonne getting back together. And I thought it was so good, so good. Yeah, it was just a great story, and it was super emotional at the end. Let me know, did you cry? Did it bring you to tears? Even just talking about it now, I felt it all over again and almost cried. But yeah, this video got longer than I meant for it to. So yeah, let me know in the comments what all you thought about it. I will be breaking down the Daryl Dixon season 2 trailer. We should get that tonight during the Parish premiere. I will be doing a probably as this comes out, I'll be doing a live stream talking about the finale with anyone who wants to talk about it on the channel. And yeah, other than that, guys, I'm going to end this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the season. I hope you had a great Easter Sunday. And I'll see you in the next video.